TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.
Hello, I'm Phil Blizzard in Dubai with TravelWise, and it's very much an interview special on this occasion. It's the first TravelWise of the new year. It's the first one of our new seasons, so let's hope it's got off to a good start for you, wherever you might be listening to these podcasts. Interview special, we'll be taking a look, we'll be focusing on Wizz Air Abu Dhabi, which is a brand new airline. It's the 7th airline to be operating out of the United Arab Emirates. But we'll start off, as we do, with aviation news.
TravelWise. Aviation news flown in by Seawings Seaplane Tours. See Dubai as never before.
Aviation news from Air Arabia, flydubai, Etihad, Wizz Air, and also some country news regarding flights and entry into different countries around the world, including the Philippines, Seychelles and the UK. And the UK, as you probably well know, air corridors have been lifted, so regulations in place. You'll probably have to quarantine if you're flying into the UK. Regarding the Seychelles, good news from them. They've opened up to the entire world, providing you've had a COVID-19 vaccination. That's their first phase, and you also need a negative COVID test. A second phase will be introduced sometime middle of March, where a vaccination certification will not be required, just the COVID negative test. As for the Philippines, they have extended their ban on international travel through to the end of this month, January. Right, Emirates, a lot of news from Emirates. They've stopping operations for flights to various destinations for operational reasons. South Africa, no flights until the 28th of January. And further afield, going east of Dubai, flights to a number of destinations in Australia, including Melbourne, Sydney, have been halted. So do check with your travel agents if you're heading off to any of those destinations regarding flights with Emirates. They are flying into Perth, however. Right, so that's Emirates.
TravelWise. Aviation news flown in by Seawings Seaplane Tours. See Dubai as never before.
On to flydubai. There's a few rumours going around. I think they might be starting up with flights from Dubai to Malta. The reason why I say that, because I've seen a few media photographs of people from the Maltese government talking to officials from flydubai. There was one a few months ago, and then there was another one just a few days ago. So things might be warming up. Listen out for that. We'll keep you updated, of course, with any further news. Now, the main airlines of the UAE, including flydubai, which I just mentioned, also Etihad and Emirates, have started a mass COVID-19 vaccination program for all their staff, so that is good news. Wizz Air is going to be our focused interview this edition of the podcast, TravelWise from me, Phil Blizzard, and they got a lot of publicity for this because they were selling tickets at £1 dirham for a flight from Abu Dhabi to Athens. I'll find out more about that a bit later on. They've also announced they'll be flying to Tel Aviv as of February the 12th. 4 flights a week, single fares at 99 dirhams from Wizz Air Abu Dhabi, flying from Abu Dhabi to Israel, Tel Aviv. Now, Emirates have got some. We've got some news from Emirates. They are, let's have a look, increasing flights to a number of American destinations. They're going to be flying to 10 destinations in the US. Starting on February the 1st, they'll be flying into Seattle. They're also increasing their flights to New York, JFK, with 2 flights per day, up from the 1 flight per day. And they'll also be flying, let's have a look, March. They'll be flying into Dallas. They'll also be flying into San Francisco as of Tuesday, March the 2nd. And on February the 5th, they'll be increasing the number of flights to Brazil, to Sao Paulo, to 5 per week. So that's some of the latest aviation news from across the Middle East and beyond. Coming up next, our key interview for this edition of the TravelWise podcast, and I'll be talking to the Managing Director of Wizz Air Abu Dhabi, Kees Van Schaick.
TravelWise. Aviation news flown in by Seawings Seaplane Tours. See Dubai as never before.
Well, on the programme today, we're finding out more about this brand new airline flying out of the Emirates, out of Abu Dhabi. We've been talking about this a lot over the last few weeks, and it's a pleasure now to speak to the Managing Director of Wizz Air Abu Dhabi, Kees Van Schaick. So welcome to the programme.
Thank you for inviting me to your show.
So what we're going to do, we're going to have a look at the operations out of Abu Dhabi. Exciting times. But before that, let's talk a bit about Wizz Air, which has been established in Europe for such a long time. What are you? Yeah. You are Europe's largest low-cost carrier, aren't you?
Well, we are of course in direct competition with the likes of Ryanair and EasyJet.
Sure.
I think we would like to mirror us against Ryanair. Ryanair very much focused on Western Europe, operating largely there, and Wizz Air Hungary also mostly focusing on Central Eastern Europe. Let's not forget we have a airline operating out of Luton,
sure,
in the UK. So we have two operating airlines in Europe. One with 11 aircraft out of the UK and about 120 plus aircraft operating out of various bases in Europe, with many bases recently added.
And in terms of numbers, I mean, a vast number of routes. Is it over 900 into almost 50 different countries?
Correct. Yes, with 136 aircraft now. We continue to seek the delivery of new aircraft because we very much believe in the future and the period to come after the full recovery of COVID-19.
Now, we'll come on to that in a moment, but in staying with some figures, we like figures, don't we? I mean, your passenger traffic grew enormously from, 2015, which was, 100 million. You doubled that in 4 years to 2019 with... a large number.
Correct. Over the years, we transported 247 million passengers.
Wow.
And I believe last figures before COVID-19 hit us, like any other airline, we were at 42 million passengers a year. So a sizable airline. And
regarding 2020, what were your figures for last year, this traumatic?
Oh, it was way down. We had a roller coaster ride of almost zero capacity flying in April, May, and then we got it up to 80 something percent back in August, and then we came down again. We recovered a little bit during Christmas, but now we are down around the 30s. So it's really an uphill battle. In dealing with all the restrictions and what have you. Absolutely.
Now, we'll come on to the Abu Dhabi operation in a moment. Just one reflection back, because you're no strangers to the UAE. I remember being at Dubai World Central for the inaugural flight from, Budapest, I guess, into Dubai a few years ago.
Correct. So Wizz Air Hungary has been operating successfully into the UAE for quite a few years. At that time, landing in Dubai World Central, I believe we were one of the first operators out of Europe to that airport. And since July, as part of the cooperation with Abu Dhabi, we relocated to Abu Dhabi. We were the first European airline to bring back capacity after the lockdown in Abu Dhabi. So we were very happy to receive Wizz Air Hungary aircraft in July. Then, of course, due to situations, restrictions, what have you, we temporarily discontinued that operation, and we felt it now to be appropriate, or Wizz Air Hungary said, let's move temporarily back to Dubai International, because World Central is closed, I believe, for international airlines, and we may stick around for some time, but very much with the vision to move back and in Abu Dhabi once possible.
Yeah. Okay, and to finish off this segment, Wizz Air Abu Dhabi is a joint venture. So a quick overview of that.
Yeah, we have established Wizz Air Abu Dhabi as majority owned 51% by ADQ, Abu Dhabi Developmental Holding Company, 49% Wizz Air Holdings. So again, majority owned by the UAE. And that has been announced in December 19, and since that time we have been working diligently as a team here on the ground in setting up the airline.
Great stuff. Right, we're going to take a little break now, Kees. We're going to go Greek in a moment as we take a look at your debut service from Abu Dhabi to the capital of Greece, Athens. So do that in a moment or two. A little musical break here on the programme.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.
Right, we're going Greek. Polykallo, I should say, which is, very good. Kalimera, which is good morning. So, Kees, Managing Director of Wizz Air Abu Dhabi, you must be very excited. We're talking slightly ahead of the service, which is taking place tomorrow, Abu Dhabi to Athens. So, exciting time, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Very excited. We had we made a decision to start operating to Greece, first to Athens 3 weeks later, followed by Thessaloniki, a new destination served out of Abu Dhabi. Very excited about that. We have a full flight back and forth Athens. I will be on it, be celebrating upon arrival, of course, the usual way. It's very, very positive that we are making this step. Literally the first flight, key of importance of getting the airline in the air.
A couple of things there. You say celebrating with the typical arrival. That's going to be the water cannons, I guess, as your aircraft touches down and taxis towards the terminal buildings. And the other thing is, you say a full flight, fantastic. But your marketing is pretty phenomenal, because you've been advertising tickets from Abu Dhabi to Athens for what, $0.27 US, $1 dirham a ticket.
Yes, correct. We wanted to show that what made us the airline we are today is we are able to offer ultra low fares. That is what we are excellent at. We are no different here as Wizz Air Abu Dhabi. We will continue to do that. That is our business model. With doing so, we are stimulating market growth. People will fly more often because of these low fares than they perhaps used to be. People who were not flying at all are choosing for us. And that's why we very firmly believe that we can grow the aviation sector here in Abu Dhabi and truly add value to the Abu Dhabi tourism industry and economy.
Now, can you give us some indication what the actual cost will be? Because that is a $1 dirham ticket going to $1 dirham to a Wizz Air. Of course, you've got the rest charges and taxes on top. So how would that sort of work out for a flight from Dubai to Athens when it's a $1 dirham ticket?
Well, we won't be making any profit on using 1 dirham tickets. That's for sure. This is a temporary offer. Promotions are typical to our line of business, that we come every now and then with promotions, stimulating traffic, building the brand awareness also in this market. We really have to position ourselves, of course, in this market. Joseph in the press conference mentioned around a 50 euro average fare, and let's not forget that our model is not only about the fare of the ticket, but we are also having a wide range of ancillary services, from the in-flight catering to the baggage and what have you, which means that we if the customer so desires, we can and will collect additional revenues from those services.
We're talking a bit about the passenger experience in a moment, but looking at your destinations from Abu Dhabi, you've mentioned 2 to Greece. Another country almost connected to Greece is Cyprus, Larnaca. They speak Greek there, they speak Turkish. So you're going to be rolling out to Larnaca, and where else?
Yeah, correct. Larnaca is on the list of destinations. We are waiting. We have it on sale, but we will truly operate when we believe the restrictions on both sides are allowing us to do that sensibly. But we have, of course, also Northern Africa, Egypt, GCC destinations on our immediate radar screen.
And what about the much spoken about new relationship with Israel? When can we expect Wizz Air to be flying into Tel Aviv?
Yeah, Tel Aviv is due to be operated by mid-February from Abu Dhabi.
Okay, so a rollout of various destinations, as you gave us some indication too. Now, the passenger experience, you've got brand new aircraft. They're very green, for example. What about once you get on board? What are you offering?
Yeah, well, we have indeed the latest technology aircraft from Airbus, the Airbus A321neo. It is a one-class layout, 239 9 seats. Our model works fine, most best if we have high load factors. So we will always try to have as many passengers flying on our aircraft at the same time. It's I would say a model which should not be misunderstood by lower quality. To the contrary, our multicultural crew is highly trained in truly delivering, and I would say, an outstanding economy product.
And I heard at the press conference, you don't mind me saying, regarding the crew, they're one of the most educated crews in the entire world, with 2/3 having college or university degrees.
Correct. No, we make that a policy that we wish to attract and invest in our people. That means that we ask also certain minimum experience levels and how people what their background is, and that has translated and will continue to be translating in a certain minimum background of university or college level.
Sure. Okay, well, Kees, thank you very much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time on what is a very, very busy few days for you. But I want to finish off. I mean, you have a long heritage in the aviation sector, and you've gone from, what should we say, the heritage carriers, Air France and so on, to what I think is probably a very nimble organisation like Wizz Air. Must be a huge contrast.
Yeah, there is indeed a contrast. From full service to ultra low cost. Clearly, there is a contrast. I wouldn't say we are a nimble airline. I think we are, to the contrary, a very entrepreneurial airline, fast-moving, quick decision-making airline. That's what made us large and made us successful. And that's why, amongst others, it is such a pleasure to work for Wizz Air.
And I just want to clarify, when I said nimble, I meant you're able to act quickly, bring on new routes and new destinations and new hubs and things like that, compared with the big legacy carriers.
Then we are on the same page.
Excellent. Well, once again, thank you very much for joining us here on the show.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.
Thank you to Kees for talking to us here on TravelWise, and in the next edition of TravelWise, we'll be focusing on Saudi Arabia and their global advertising campaign to attract you to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.
Right, we'll have updates of the travel situation across the region on my weekly travel show on Capital Radio, Saturday afternoons, Capital Radio UAE, Saturday afternoons between 2 and 5. It's called Wish You Were Here, and you can join me from anywhere in the world online with www.capitalradiouae.com. And if you would like to have a podcast production for your organisation, do get in touch with me. Drop me an email, philblizzardmedia@gmail.com.
A Phil Blizzard radio production. TravelWise. Aviation news flown in by Seawings Seaplane Tours. See Dubai as never before.